What's going on, everybody? It's been a while since I posted on here. Just wanted to hop on, give an update on how life's going, how the furniture business is going. You've been following me for a while. You probably know a little bit about my story, but if you're new here, what's up? Welcome to the channel. My name is Tanner Osborne. I'm a serial entrepreneur born and raised in a small town called Bismarck, North Dakota, not South Dakota. South Dakota has the presidents, Mount Rushmore. Everybody gets them confused. North Dakota, South Dakota. So anyways, enough of that. So I have a longer video. I'll link it below, or I go deeper into my story and all of that, but I'm gonna tell the short version in this video just so this one makes sense. So as I was saying, I was born and raised in a small town in Bismarck, North Dakota, and kind of how my entrepreneur journey began was starting in, I think I started driving in 9th or 10th grade. I decided I wanted to start instantly making money. So I got a job as soon as I could start working, which I think I was like 14, started washing cars, but I realized I wasn't making a whole lot. I think I started off making like $8.50 an hour. I'd work after school and then on the weekends, and I'd probably only make $200 to $300 a week. So my first year of working was also like my first year of driving. So I think it was springtime in Bismarck, North Dakota. I want to say around 2012, 2011 or 12. I had a pickup, and I always seen growing up, there's always like a fall cleanup and spring cleanup where people back home would go put lawnmowers, snow blowers, weed whackers, like all kinds of stuff on the side of the road. And I always thought like, wow, that'd be cool to go pick some of it up and see if it still runs or like if anything's good or salvageable. So here I am, like 14, 15 years old, driving up Washington Street back home. And now I have my license. I can actually go out and do this myself. I see all these lawnmowers and snow blowers and all this stuff on the side of the road. And then what did I do? I went and picked up every single one. And I'm eventually gonna do a video with my parents talking about like, you know, going back in time and what it was like doing all this. And because I remember they would always complain. They let me do my thing, and they always left me alone for the most part, but they'd always give me shit because, you know, eventually I started flipping cars too, but lawnmowers, boats, whatever, they would always complain. There's too much stuff going on. There's too many cars. Back on track with this story, I picked up every single lawnmower, every snowblower, whatever I could find, and I brought them all home, and I put them on like the side of my house in my garage. And then, you know, my mom, this is why I want to do a video with them. You can laugh about it now, but my mom would get pissed and say, "Oh, your dad's gonna be mad when he gets home." And then my dad would get home and he would just look and ask what I'm doing, whatever, and kind of just shake his head, which is funny to think back to now. It's crazy how fast time flies. But yeah, so what I would do, I grew up in a mechanically inclined family. My dad would always work on cars with me. My grandpa, I grew up going to the farm with him, so we were always working on some tractor or some piece of equipment. And then my brother-in-law as well, he taught me how to fix up motors on like Subarus and all kinds of stuff. And eventually later in life, I started flipping cars. So just being around all that, I kind of learned how an engine works. Air, fuel, spark, pretty simple. If something's not running, it's missing one of those three. So what I would do, I'd bring all these lawnmowers home, snow blowers, whatever. And I'd take out the spark plug, drain the gas tank. That's usually all it took. Maybe needed to replace like a small fuel line or clean out the carburetor, whatever. I'd say I'd probably picked up 10 push mowers and probably like 3 to 5 snow blowers that first year and got all of them running. And then what I would do, we had a website back home where there wasn't really Facebook Marketplace. Maybe there was, but I wasn't too big into social media or Facebook or any of that back then. So we would list everything on a website called Bizman Online back home. So I'd get them all working, and I'd go list them on Bizman, the push mowers for about 100 to 150 each. And I sold them all for that price within probably like 1 to 2 weeks, because this was in the spring or the summer. Somewhere around that time, because I sold all the lawnmowers. But I knew getting the snow blowers, they're probably not gonna sell quick, but when winter came around, I sold each one of those snow blowers, I think for like 300 to 500 each. So I just took, you know, just an idea that was in my head, saw these lawnmowers, it's even, if you've ever read the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he started off by getting these magazines. He volunteered at like a gas station or something, and he got magazines, and then he just created this club with other kids where they'd pay like $1 or something, and then that's how he'd sell his magazines. But basically what I'm saying, how I took just something in my mind and then turned that into dollars. So that's just a little bit about how my entrepreneur journey started and what sparked it and created it. I'm going to do a lot more podcasts, a lot more episodes, deep diving into all of this and talking about it. But that's kind of how it started. I started, flipping lawnmowers, and then eventually what I did, I started mowing grass back home, door knocking. I go to my neighbors and door knock, hey, do you want your grass mowed? And eventually, on the weekends, me and a buddy back home, we started just going door knocking all weekend, mowing everybody's grass that we could. Like I said, that was my first year driving, did all that. Then eventually, as I started making more money, I wanted to figure out something that I could go put that money into and turn it into more money. So that's where, like I said, going back in time a little bit, I would watch my brother-in-law always had some type of car that he was working on, or doing this or doing that or flipping this. So I was always in his back pocket as well growing up, and that's where I learned, how to flip cars. So back home, it snows a lot in the winter, and people like to go off-roading and do all kinds of stuff back home. So a lot of people like Subarus. So there's a lot of Subarus in the Midwest, and a common problem with them is head gaskets going out. So my brother-in-law, he was always getting Subarus for like pennies on the dollar, then going, and he knew how to do the work, change out the head gaskets and timing belt and all that. He'd go get the parts for like $300, go do all the work, and then turn around and make a $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 plus profit. So I learned a lot from him. I started helping him do the jobs, the head gasket jobs. He would pay me a little bit. Then we started buying cars together, doing the work together, splitting stuff, and then just making profits on that as well. And then fast forward a little bit, something that I've always wanted to do, if you, like I said, go watch my last video that I'll link below. I always wanted to be a pilot, and I thought my dream was to be like a commercial pilot. So I had to put the shades on here for the rest of this video to finish her out, but so going back to that, I had to take a break there. How I became a pilot. So I had a kid right out of high school with my now wife. We had a kid very early, right out of high school. And like I said, I always thought like I wanted to be a pilot. And I always knew I wanted to be a pilot. It just wasn't the way that I thought it was gonna be. Yeah, I graduated high school and I didn't have any money to go and become a pilot. It's 4 years at University of North Dakota. Costs, I don't even know what today's price is, probably $200,000 or $300,000, but even when I wanted to go, it was $150,000, and that would take you 4 years, mind you, and I don't know, I couldn't be away from my kid and my girlfriend at that time, now wife, couldn't be gone for 4 years just at school like that, and plus I didn't have the money. So, but I didn't let that be my reality at all. I didn't accept the fact that I wasn't going to do it though. I didn't let the system decide for me that that's going to be my reality. I chose to still think and just got creative and thought, well, how can I do this? Well, with flipping cars and doing all that. Well, when I graduated high school, I went right into the workforce and I started doing sheet metal with my girlfriend's dad. Right into the sheet metal workers union. I was getting good health insurance, making decent money for what I had going on at that time, could support us, help pay for everything to raise our son. But I knew that's not what I wanted to do long term. So still continued flipping cars while doing that, made extra money. And then I started going to flight lessons at my local airport right there in Bismarck. On weekends, on lunch breaks even, like whatever extra time. In my opinion, if you truly want something, if you truly want it and you believe in it, you'll find time, you'll find money, you'll find whatever it is that you need or want. You'll find it, you'll find a way. As long as you don't allow excuses and limiting beliefs take over your thoughts. It all starts up here is what I believe and what I tell everybody. But yeah, I saved up like $10,000 And I got my private pilot's license within about, I think, 8 months total is from when I started with not knowing anything to getting my private pilot's license, where I'd just be able to go fly for fun or take people out for fun. But there was still a long ways to go. I still needed an instrument rating, a commercial rating, multi-engine, and to get a job in the airlines, you need 1,500 total flight hours before they'll even usually consider you. And I didn't have any of that. I had like maybe 40 hours and a private pilot's license, so I still had a ways to go, and I needed more money, and I did not have the money. So how did I do it? Well, what I did, I decided to still work the sheet metal job for about another, I think, 6 months or so. Saved up more money and started doing my instrument training, and I just realized, like, man, God, this is gonna take forever if I do it this way. Not only do I not have all the funds to just continually, like, be able to live for one, but still pay for flight training. Flipping cars wasn't enough. Like, to become a pilot, usually now today's, if you go to college and do it, which I wouldn't recommend. If I had to do it all over again, I would do it exactly the way I did it. That's how I'd do it if you ask me. 4 years of a college degree or whatever to go do that, it's gonna cost you probably $200,000-300,000. How I did it is I had my private pilot's license. Like I said, I was doing the sheet metal, and started doing my instrument training, and I realized that's gonna take forever. So what I want, I'm like, I know I can't go fly right now, but I wanna be around airplanes because that's the end goal. I wanna be around airplanes, flying airplanes. So what I did, I saw that there was a job opportunity at my local airport to go refuel airplanes. At the time I was doing sheet metal, I think I was making like 18 or 19 bucks an hour, and plus had health insurance paid for. So none of it was taken out of my paycheck because it was the union. None of it was taken out of my paycheck. So I had health insurance paid for myself and my son, which was nice. I left that job to go refuel airplanes for, I think it was $14 an hour, and I had to take out health insurance out of my paycheck, and pay for it myself. And it wasn't very good health insurance either, but so I think take home I was probably only making, after taxes and insurance taken out, probably like 10 bucks an hour. So I left there doing sheet metal, 18 bucks an hour, health insurance, whatever, to go work this job to bring home essentially $10 an hour to myself and, you know, have crappy health insurance. But it was because I knew something was calling me that direction, because it was guiding me towards the path where I'm taking you guys right now, how this all happened. So what I was doing there, basically, I was just trusting. Everybody else was telling me, you know, I don't know, should you do this, whatever, you know, good health insurance, this and that. And I was able to tune out all of those voices and just tune into myself and my intuition, and just follow the energy, basically. I felt something like calling me towards that way to go take that job, that position or whatever, just so I could be around airplanes, because I knew it's gonna keep me inspired. It's gonna keep my mind focused on the vision. If I'm around all day long and I'm around people that are, keep in mind, that are also doing these things and have other connections and whatever, anything is possible. Let me say that again. Anything is possible, all right? Anything. None of this is real. Everything that you think is like, there's this rule and you gotta go to college and you gotta do this. That's only if you let that thought, if that's the only thought you hold, you're basically, there's this energy floating outside of you like this. But if that, whatever thought you hold, it's gonna basically put a shield up, like, nope, this is it. You have to be open-minded and let the energy, whatever you wanna call it, just kind of flow and see where it takes you, basically. Yeah, it's just, that's the only thing I could ever come up with, if that makes sense. But I just followed the energy, basically, and that's where it took me, is to that job. And I started refueling airplanes. And to be honest, like, I was miserable too. I'm gonna revert back a little bit. I did it because I knew whatever I have to do it, and I knew in my head too, like, long term, Tanner, don't worry. Like, this is not, you're not gonna have to do this forever, buddy. Your future self has to talk to your present self. And you can also talk to your past self too, to help overcome things, so you can, you know, whatever. But it's trippy when you think about it like that, but you're all existing. There's many versions of you, but they're all existing simultaneously. It's just a matter of getting in the moment, basically, and following what you think and with the thoughts you hold and the emotion you hold, and not letting anything outside try to take over what you think or what you feel. I have no other explanations for it, no matter who's watching this. You know what I mean? It's just the honest truth. It doesn't matter if it's family, friends, anything. Like, you need TV, news, what your favorite celebrity said, what you saw here. Everything's trying to rob your attention all day long, every single day, whether you realize it or not. And then you just never focused on yourself. But, ask yourself, like, when was the last time you took a moment just to be in the moment? Literally just pause, like, no phone, no TikTok, no TV, no nothing, just you and yourself in a quiet place. Can you do it? Try it, like, see if you can do it. I just want to put that out there, like, I just want to be 100% raw and real with everybody and just take it for what you want, I guess. But I don't know, I just followed my energy, I tuned everything else out, and that's where it took me. Took me to their refueling airplanes, but like I said, when I started getting there and getting that environment, I was around a whole different batch of people versus when I was doing my past job. I knew going there, well, I want to be a pilot. Well, this place refuels airplanes. What else do they do? Well, they offer flight instructing. They charter out airplanes. They do work on airplanes. They refuel airplanes. They do all kinds of stuff. What kind of people do you think? So I could learn like how to fly and like they actually, this is the thoughts I was having, by the way. So they have airplanes there. And also an incentive that they had is if you were to come work there and you were a pilot, you could actually get a discount on renting the airplane, which was like a pretty decent rate. So that helped with, if I wanted to go fly for fun or build time. So it allowed me to be just in a completely different environment. And then, refueling the airplanes, they would also hangar people's airplanes too. So people in the local area, there was dentists, there was a lot of oil money where I'm from in North Dakota. So there was a lot of people with oil, and just real estate in general that had hangared their planes at the place that I worked. So I was the guy that got it when they would let us know, not them. They would have their team, the pilots let us know, the line guys, that, hey, make sure to pull out this airplane at this day and time. And then we would also cater to them. If they want this order, this food, these drinks, yada, 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 whatever, we're going to arrive at this time. Make sure to have the airplane already, pulled out, ready to go. So that's what we would do. We pull the plane out, get it ready to go, refuel it with how much fuel they want, get ice, whatever we needed to get ready. That was basically my job, and refuel the plane. And along with that stuff, you would pull out planes from the hangars, a little bit of catering, whatever. So I learned a lot, but also by doing that, I did that job for about a year. And I loved it. If I could go back in time, I would do that all. If you have the opportunity, if you want to get into aviation, my best advice to you would be go and take a line job go look up a line technician airport near me, wherever you're located. And if you want to be a pilot or just be in aviation in general or just make connections with people, go and be a line guy and then think about the long term. But just being in that environment, you got to be around different people is what I'm saying. So a lot of the people's planes that we were chartering are people that own oil, own dentist companies, own all kinds of stuff. So you got to build a little bit of a relationship and connection with these people, which I thought was pretty cool. It's just crazy how everything connects. All the dots end up connecting if you just tune in to your energy, what the world wants you. Tune into your energy and just let it flow. I keep going off track, but I'm gonna do a whole separate video on this, but it's just crazy when you just sit back and reflect. And I just wanted to make this video with just be 100% raw and real, like what I've learned and experienced so far. And I'm still learning. I think you're always going to be learning and evolving and growing. There is, like, sounds cheesy and cliche, but there really is no destination, really. It all leads to one place, but I think the whole point is just to get lost and then have fun and, learn to be a human again and feel again and not take the world and people. Be yourself, basically. So I made a lot of connections there. But if you just tune in, everything you need, I promise you, no matter where you're at. I don't care, I know, I'm not saying everybody has a tough story. I got a tough story. You got a tough story, and I'm not saying it doesn't matter. I think you need to tell your story. I think it's 100%, you need to let it out, but let out everything. Let out the good, the bad, the ugly, everything. And just keep it real. That's what people need nowadays. Just keep it 100% real and raw and rare. I don't believe in any other way. Getting back to how I actually became a pilot. So I worked there for about a year. Like I said, I started to do some instrument instructing as well. They had an instructor, but she also worked the parts counter as well, because no offense, but in my opinion, that specific company sucks at marketing. If they could market, they could dominate the whole entire area, but just putting a sign up front and it's not enough nowadays. You have to be online. You have to make a presence. Yeah, I mean, that's the only way. You gotta go where the eyeballs are, basically. But how that all happened is the parts lady that was also the instructor, we were doing some instrument training together, and she just started asking, like, what's your goal? What's your, what are you trying to do here? And I said, like, I want to go all the way. Like, I want to become an airline pilot. I'm just like, this is just taking forever, though. Like, I'm willing to do it. I'm gonna keep showing up. I'm gonna keep working towards my instrument rating. But I'm like, it's gonna take forever, because, not only am I limited on time, but now I'm also limited on funds, because I also have a kid and whatever. And then she asked me, she said, have you ever heard of, this one place, it was a flight school in South Dakota. So when I started this video, I said North Dakota and South Dakota. This flight school was in the state below me, South Dakota, right by Sioux Falls. She said, have you ever heard of this guy? And I said, and I have heard a little bit about him, but I never looked into it too much. I said, yeah, I mean, I've heard some things. Like, why? And she's like, well, she said, I have this one friend, this one girl, who is also in the same situation that you were. She had her own plane. She already had her private pilot's license, but she wanted to become a commercial pilot. But she lived in California, but she also didn't have all, the money to do it and like a way to do it. And what he did was moved her from California to where he lived in Sioux Falls there. It got her basically through all of her training, and then in return, she got a flight instructor for him, and then build up hours so she could. And I believe now, I still keep in contact with her. Her name's Heidi. She flies for FedEx. She told me to reach out to him and just see what's going on and see, what he's looking for. And at first, I saw where she was going with it, but I'm like, I never want to be that guy where, like, I reach out and I'm like, hey, like, should just help me out, whatever. But I started to see, I'm like, this could really make sense. Like, the reason he couldn't find a flight instructor to stay there long term anyway is because he's in the middle. Nobody wants to live in the middle of a cornfield, right? But it is a very good, very, very good place to go and get your license and get if you want to get done and you want to get done quick and not deal with any bullshit. But go to www.rigandflightservice.com. I'll even put something right here, www.rigandflightservice.com. Go out, reach out to them, and they will hook you up. That's the place to go. So what I actually ended up doing, I decided, hey, I mean, I don't know this guy too well, so I'm not just gonna necessarily. I think I actually did try to cold call him, but he's so busy. He was busy doing check rides, so he basically has flight instructors that do all the instructing for him. And then when it comes time for his students to like take their test to basically actually get whatever license they're working towards, he's positioned himself to where like he's the one in his business where the students, we basically train them and then he does the test. So it's just like I said, in my opinion, I can't say enough about like that place. If you want to become a pilot, or just even if you're interested in just flying, I think he'll actually take you up for free. I think he even has a place that you can stay, you know, for really cheap. Hang out there for a day or so and just go check it out, feel out the vibe. It is, I'm gonna forewarn you, it's a small town. I actually tried cold calling, but it was the receptionist that would answer. Hey, this is Brandy. Hey, this is Heather, or whatever. And I've always known in my head, anytime I'm going to go pitch something or reach out for something, I'm shooting right for the source. I'm trying to figure out the information. I'm not pitching to the person that calls and then says, hey, yeah, this is so-and-so, because they don't know. They're told what they can do. So that's what I mean. You got anything is possible. You just have to get to the right people, if that makes sense. So what I ended up doing instead, I wrote him a letter, said, hey, this is Tanner, blah, 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 about me, a little bit about myself. I'm interested in doing this. Here's how I can, you know, I think that we could collaborate. Basically what I told him is, hey, I don't have a whole lot of money right now. I'm already got my private pilot's license. You know, a little bit about myself. I had a kid. This is what I'm currently doing. Here's what I'm working towards. Here's what I'm willing to give. And I sent it off, and I thought, like, well, man, probably will never hear back, whatever. I'm sure he's got it taken care of. And I sent that on like a Wednesday. I got a call on a Friday from his receptionist saying, hey, Tanner, this is Brandy. Morris would actually like to meet you. When could you be down here? And I remember it like it was yesterday, because I actually went on a trip to Devil's Lake in North Dakota, where I go fishing in the summer a lot when I lived there. I was on just first day on the fishing trip, and I'm like, because she was like, he wants to meet with you as soon as you can. And I'm like how soon? She's like, could you be here tomorrow? And I'm like, man, the fish are biting. I'm like, could I come on Monday? And she's like, yeah, Monday will work fine. Well, what time do you think? I said, well, I gotta make sure I can rent a plane or whatever from the place. This is funny too, from the place that I'm working at, make sure one's available. But I said I could probably be there around like, I think I told him like 12 p.m. I'm like, okay, sounds good, I'll let Morris know. And then what I did there, spent 2 days on the fishing trip with my buddy Jake back home. And then I was supposed to spend like 5 days total. So I think like for Friday to like Wednesday or something like that, we had planned. But I spent Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Sunday morning, I was like, dude, okay, I gotta go. So I like packed my shit. He probably doesn't even know what happened. I was just like, dude, I gotta go. But I just packed my stuff early Sunday morning, drove home. And that was the thing too, is like breaking the news to my now wife, like, hey, like, I actually have this opportunity, because she started college and we have our kid, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to move away for a little bit here in order to make this happen. But I'm thankful for her. We made it happen. We did about 8 months to a year apart. So we ended up negotiating that I would come move down there. I flew down there on Monday. I ended up telling my work to rent the plane. I said, hey, my dad, because my dad was coming with me, I said, I'm gonna have to take the day off on Monday, because my dad, he needs basically, like I just said, like there's an emergency. I need to get my dad to Sioux Falls. So I'm gonna need to rent one of your guys' airplanes. And they're just like, okay, whatever. So we show up, took off, whatever, flew there, met with, his name's Morris at Reagan Flight Service or whatever, met with him, signed a contract, and then he said, I want you here next week, Monday. And I was like, damn. I'm like, okay, yeah, I can make that happen. So then I flew back home with my dad. and then had to break the news to my wife and say basically like, hey, like I got 1 week to basically pack everything up and like tell my work like, hey, hasta luego. Just basically get down there, because that was the thing. Like, hey, if you want this, it's here right now. It's not, you don't have, and that's how it is sometimes. Like, it's now or never, baby. So I had to take it, and that's what I did. So moved down there for like 8 months. I think it was a total of 8 or 9 months. I got there, I got my instrument rating within like a month of being there. Just flew up. He had a place for me to stay even. So I went down there with like 6,000 saved up. So I didn't really have much expenses besides still paying health insurance I ended up just paying out of pocket for me and my son. And then just helping out there. But basically I had 6,000 to live off of. And then, flew every single day. Groundwork, flying, test, every single day. It took about 3 months. I got my instrument commercial, certified flight instructor, multi-engine rating, everything basically that you needed. And then I started flight instructing to build up my hours towards that 1,500, because my end goal there was to become a commercial pilot. So I got through everything when I moved there in about 3 months. I moved there in the beginning of August, and then I started flight instructing, because I think I went home for like about a few weeks or a month, because I was away for a while. I convinced him to let me go home for a little bit, spend time with some family. I want to say I started flight instructing the beginning of December, and then until about around March or April, I built up about 900 to 1,000 hours in that amount of time, and then moved back home to go work at the place that I was refueling airplanes again. But this time what I was doing, because when I was also in flight instructing, when there was days where it was raining and we couldn't fly or do anything, I was also working in the shop on the airplanes, helping service them, do annual inspections, oil changes, whatever needed to be done. And by doing that, you get a log hours as well to become A&P mechanic, where you can basically do mechanic work on the airplanes. But he basically gave me a job where I could work in the shop on airplanes, because they had a whole fleet of charter aircrafts, King Airs, Cessna 172s, a Cirrus, Conquest, all kinds of stuff. So there was constant maintenance needed to be done. So I'd work in the shop, and then also they had a survey contract in the summer where they would do like aerial survey for farmers' fields that I got to fly that summer. I flew that, probably gained like another 300 hours that summer when I moved back in March or April, and then survey started in May. It went till about September, October. So made another like 300 hours there. So it put me at like 1,300 hours. And then they had a little bit of flight instructing, not a whole lot in between as well. And a little bit of like just odd and end flights where they would do this thing where they do Christmas light tours in the winter, which is a good idea. But you know, you can only build up so many hours, and then it's just kind of sitting in the shop again, twiddling your thumbs. So I built up hours. Basically, I worked there. What I'm getting at is I worked there, built up enough hours, and then I had a job opportunity to go work for SkyWest Airlines, and then boom, COVID hit in 2020. That was right around the same time where I had a seat to go fly for SkyWest Airlines. And then, you know, the pandemic hit, they laid off all the pilots, but I realized something even when I got to that point where like I knew, again, I believe in divine timing, and everything that seems to be, nothing is happening to you, everything is happening for you. So I thought in the moment, I'm like, damn, my life sucks, my futures and their reality's crushed, like I'm gonna have to go back and just get a job I hate, or like, because even that was the thing, not even like the airlines, now that they're laid off, all of the jobs like where I worked at, they did charter flights and stuff, all those people that got laid off, now they're way more qualified than you too. That's a brand new guy. So who do you think's getting all the jobs? So there was no jobs like for flying, like really anything in aviation for a good year and a half at least, I'd say. But I didn't honestly want to fly anymore. I realized like what, like tuning back into myself, where I'm like, huh, this is a sign like to go all. I don't want to. I 100% like have nothing against like working jobs or whatever, but I just known, for me anyway, like I've always wanted more. I'm ready to create. I want more, basically. I don't know, I guess it kind of just threw everything off, where I thought like, oh my God, my hopes and dreams, my reality from here is crushed. I knew it was divine. That's what I believed. It was divine, and it told me to believe in myself and go all in on what I'm gonna do now. And that's where it's led me. And there's many other bumps and things in between all of that, but I don't think if you're looking for easy, you're looking for like get rich quick whatever, like for one, you're gonna be miserable. None of this is even real. Money doesn't matter, nothing. It's all made up. None of it's real. But we get so attached to everything that we like forget who we are, and like what, in my opinion, the whole point is of like what nobody knows the point, but I believe like to evolve our consciousness and learn that we are the creators of our own reality. You can do whatever the hell you want to do. Anything's possible. It's just literally like going back to what I said, is it starts, people only affect you if you allow them to. When you're in tune with yourself, nothing can affect you mentally or emotionally, only if you allow it to. When you learn to master your thoughts and emotions, you get in tune, and you tune all the noise out, and you can start to see like, hey, this is whatever. I don't know. I hope this video makes sense. I don't know. I just wanted to make it, come on here, give a little bit of update. I can go on and on. That's why I'm just gonna put this out real and raw, like how it is. I don't think I'm gonna edit anything out, like whatever. But tuning back into now, present moment, decided to hell with flying. All of that happened or whatever, where the pilot got laid off. So again, we had some money saved up. We decided to move here to Phoenix, Arizona. And, that wasn't all smooth sails either. Like, a lot of realizations, a lot of learning about relationships, about family, about finances, everything. Basically just like took a whole year right there, probably a year to 2 years, honestly, of just discovering, learning, and just discovering who I am, basically. And I think everybody should honestly go through it. Don't ever take anything I say seriously, because everything is opinions, right? This is just my opinion. I'm not here to fight or argue. If you think this is what Henry Ford said. He said, whether you think you're right or you're wrong, either way you're right. Whatever, because like I said, whatever thought you hold, your reality is just as valid and just as real as whatever other reality that you want is to be real. It just depends on what you hold up here. So, but how this all kind of started is one night we were taking the trash. I think it was probably 3-4 months into moving to Phoenix. We moved into an apartment with some friends. And we were taking out the trash one night, and then we noticed one of our neighbors threw away their old couch, which was like a nice couch. They only got it a few months ago, and we're like, damn, I'm like, I know I could flip this. So we brought it, me and my wife, we brought it upstairs into our apartment, 4th floor, but we had an elevator. So we brought it up to the 4th floor, gave it a good vacuum. It wasn't gross or anything, but just, needed a good vacuum. And then listed it on Facebook. we didn't even know what we could sell things for at the time. And I'm not 100% positive, but at least I told her, I'm like, we could at least sell this for like $300 or something. And we did. We sold it for like $300 to $400 the next day. We listed it that night and had somebody that wanted to come get it like right away, but we just coordinated like, we'll come in the morning, early afternoon or whatever, and they did. And then that happened actually like another 1 or 2 times while we lived at that apartment. But then we just got the idea, we're like, why don't we just go all in and start couch flipping? Because I was debating on like what I should do. I'm like, I was looking for jobs to fly around here. I didn't really want to flight instruct, so I was looking for like maybe like a charter job. And that's where I discovered like there's nothing. I couldn't even go find a mechanic job because it was like right around the COVID time and like everybody was laid off. So I think I was driving DoorDash to make some money. And then, like I said, we were doing Amazon, like flipping used books on Amazon. We'd go to like Goodwill's, scan the barcodes on the back of the books with this app, and you could easily make like, depending, like in a big area like Phoenix, like $8,000 to $10,000 a month just doing that if you really wanted to. But we were doing a little bit of that, not like, if we were going all in, we could probably make 10, 15K a month doing books like that. But we thought like couches are pretty easy for the most part. Like you get a couch for free like that, and like there's other ways you can get couches for free or for really cheap, whatever you want to do. Like I said in this video earlier too, where focus goes, energy flows. If you want something, it's already there. It's just a matter of you tuning your thoughts and yourself into whatever it is that you want, and you can't worry about the how. That's another thing I realized and used to get so hung up on is, man, like how is this gonna work? And like when you try to force, you're actually pushing it away from you, versus if you just have the end goal in mind, keep that right here, and then just like envision like it's already yours basically, and that you have that much faith and that much trust. And taking action, what I used to think is like hard, like because I'm so used to the blue collar work, or like hard work. And I think couch flipping is good, but it just doesn't align with like our long-term vision and goal where we want to be 100% virtual. So, we scaled this up. We figured out how to get all kinds of couches, whatever, scaled it up. But we just realized like it takes so much. You can scale anything to whatever you want, but it just takes so much of our time and the amount of overhead versus others things that we can do. They just make way more sense. It just doesn't make sense. So basically what we're doing now, we're transitioning, we're turning this warehouse, getting rid of the rest of these couches like that are right in here. Say we got most of these for free. I think my wife did the numbers when we sell all of them. We'll probably sell, I think she said like 5,000 to 1,500 worth of couches that we pretty much got all for free. I think we were gonna start implementing like dressers and stuff. We just realized the path that we were headed down and where it led to, and it's not that it would be bad, but it's not the right path, basically, the right vehicle. You want to spend your time in the places where do you really see yourself 20, 30, 40, whatever your end goal is. And I think that's the most important thing with all of us, and getting to realize yourself is like, you are the creator of your reality. You can create whatever the hell you want. There's nothing, nobody, nothing, not the government, not your mom, not your dad, not your spouse, not your brother, sister. Nobody is holding you back from anything you want but yourself. You can have whatever you want. It's just a matter of, attracting it back to you. Basically what we're doing here is we're transitioning this warehouse space. What I'm gonna be doing now is going all into why like you're watching this video in this first place, and that's for me. This is all a long-term play. I know what I'm doing now, and I know where I see myself in the long term, and that's like how committed you have to be. If you can't see the long term and realize that whatever your vision or your goal is, like I said, if you're looking for like a get rich quick and just this and simple fix, this ain't the place, I guess. I'm just gonna say that, but I'm just 100% going to keep it real and raw, and I'm probably not going to be for everybody. I'm going to be honest, and I don't want to be for everybody. I want those people to literally, if they're not for me, I hope they, I'm thankful for our time spent together. I want you to go find whoever your vibe attracts your tribe. So whoever your vibe or like your tribe is, I hope, you find it. I hope this helps you at least find it. But anyway, yeah, gonna wrap this up because I can go on and on. That's why I want to have a podcast so bad. Like, you're watching it right now, but again, in the future, there's gonna be a podcast set up right here. We already got a lot of cool shit lined up. It's just, like I said, in this whole journey, in this whole process, if there's anything that I can preach to or that you get from this, is patience truly is everything. There's three things that I think matter the most: is God, the universe, energy, whatever you want to call it, right? I don't care. I'm not here to have that conversation. That's not what I'm here to do. The point being is, whatever you believe in, something's there, right? Have massive faith and make a connection with that. Have a vision, an end goal, and then just get after it. Whatever, as you don't get tripped up. This is what I used to do too, is worry about so much about the how. You know what I mean? Like, as long as you know what the first step is, if the first step is you literally just pulling out your phone, like, not worry, like what I do in my head is, well, I don't have a nice camera yet, I don't have a microphone, this, I feel like imposter syndrome, like I don't know what I'm doing, I'm this and that. You're gonna have all limiting beliefs. Just get rid of all the excuses and all the whatever, and start with rate whatever the God, the universe, whatever gave you. Start with that and take the first step. And as you do, guess what? It's like a game. It's just literally waiting for you. Like, okay, like you know what, only you have to tune into yourself, and only you know what the first step is. It's your job to take that first step, take action, fuck shit up, mess it all up. Who cares? But guess what? By taking that first step and messing up, you've already done what 99% of other people wouldn't have never done, and you probably learned something in the process. Don't stop there. Don't let it hold you back. Instead of think like, yeah, oh, this sucks, God, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Think like, well, what did I learn from this? Learn how to change your thoughts and the way that you think. Start asking yourself different questions. Think about what thoughts are really holding me back. Get really deep within yourself. Man, I could go on and on. I'm gonna do another podcast or video in the future. I'm gonna see how this one does. That's where I'm gonna wrap it up. If you got anything out of it, I know it's probably kind of different, whatever. I don't want to be the same as everybody else, so I just want to speak whatever, comes to mind here, and just keep it real and raw and in the moment, let it flow. But if you enjoyed this video, got anything out of it, comment below. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe.